Hello and welcome to Autocar Professional. We are here in Chennai at the Future Powertrain Conclave, and I'm joined by Dr. Awasthi, who's here to represent MBRDI. And I wanted to understand from you, sir. We're looking at a pluralism of technologies when it comes to powertrain. How do you wrap your head around it, and what is the kind of solution that you sort of envision for India? What is the final solution going to look like when we look at carbon neutrality finally?
I think the final solution will look like the mix of technologies which contribute to decarbonization in this country, the context of this country. As far as about working, I work in the space of gasoline, diesel, electric, you know, so and I hybrids. So for me, I'm really not looking into which is the better technology or which is going to be adopted here, but ultimately any technology that promises to reduce the carbon footprint sustainable will be a winner here. So
Tell me something. Whenever we look at India and in context of R&D, we always say that companies allocate very small of their budgets in the R&D space, and that could sort of go up. Do you see that as a challenge, and that should that sort of propel us into more technologies that have local solutions for India, India as a market?
I'm not sure if it's relevant for us because as an R&D center, we are focused for the global solutions. But definitely, I mean, if there is a need for India to allocate more research fund to solve India's specific problems, I think that's something and certainly need to be looked at.
Tell me something. We talk of hybrids, we talk of EVs, and you've worked on all these technologies, and even globally, different countries are taking different paths towards electrification. How do you see India's journey? Because Europe has had a very different approach as compared to China, and now we see the US market responding very differently from what it was doing, say, 4 to 5 years back. It's sort of slowed down in terms of pace of growth when it comes to EVs. So how do you see India's pace of growth? Because that has also seeing signs of slowdown. How do you respond to that?
So I'm not surprised if each country's arc is different. And I think it depends on the country. And I think India's arc will certainly be different. And there is a reason for it. If you look at the way automobile or the vehicles are used in the space of personal mobility, India is mostly urban consumer, right? 80% of personal cars are used in urban setting and 20% is in rural setting. While let's say Europe, it's the completely opposite. 60% is rural and 40% is urban, and also there are reasons for that. So the adaptation of any technology depends on this demography, um, the usage pattern, etc. So I'm sure India will adapt to technologies which will help in terms of energy security, decarbonization, economic contribution, the contribution to the GDP, etc., but with its own arc.
Do you see reskilling becoming a challenge? Because as we move on to new technologies, how much of a reskilling should we do at a organizational level, at an institutional level, maybe from a policy perspective?
It's a very good question. I think it's needed. I mean, if you look at our recent product that we did, it's called software defined vehicle.
Yeah.
So that means software is at the becoming a not code necessarily, but defining content for a product. So I think it's very important to look into it. That and then also we understand the technologies. For example, if you talk about electric motors, so electric motors, there is a demand to move away from permanent magnet to magnet-free motors, or there is a battery technology. So I think this reskilling, upskilling has to happen, should happen, and it's a very continuous thing. It should happen within the, let's say, OEMs. It also should happen at every other level of the industry, because the product of the future, mobility solutions for the future, are all about how well integrated they are with the ecosystem itself. So I think it has to happen.
Yeah, a car is more of a gadget today than just a mechanical device from A to B, right?
I have nothing more to add there.
Yeah. Just lastly, wanted to understand, we're here in Chennai today, and the Tamil Nadu government is sort of pushing a lot in terms of making sure that all kinds of technologies, be it EV or ICE, cleaner technologies, of course, and sort of look at the state as a hub for automotive manufacturing. 40% of all ancillaries manufactured are here in this state. So how do you see Tamil Nadu developing as, it has a goal of $1 trillion economy by 2030. So how do you see the path towards that, if you could share some words on that?
I am really not the right person, but I wish all the best uh, to the Tamil Nadu state. I think they should definitely do 1 trillion and more, and why not? And I think that's where I would say all the best. But
Yeah. But you see, like India and Indian states making for the world, and like the China
absolutely,
plus one.
make in India for the world definitely is the mantra. I think India can be the product development laboratory for the world. We not only should design our products in computers, we should also make them, test them in India, which is, I think, a big gap today. We feel the need for it, and I think this is where anybody who can have an influence definitely should think about it. Can the country, can any state be the product development laboratory?
Yeah, yeah. So the entire China plus one strategy and all that is sort of will work in India's favor eventually.
I'm not again an expert in that space, but I will say for the pure love of engineering, for the pure love of R&D, if the right environment is created, I think all engineers like me would love to take part in that.
Sure.
Right?
On that note, thank you so much for talking to us. Thank you so much.